This is the box for the dash cam. It only says M5, which is a pretty generic sounding name. It does look pretty high-end though, and with a Sony Exmor sensor, as well as H.264 compression at Full HD with 30 frames per second and f2.0 aperture. Pretty good specs. The camera is about the size of a goose egg, and as you can see here, it's well protected by foam packing material. It does come with a small instruction manual, and that's mostly graphics. And it does contain enough information to get things started for you, setting up the diagrams and even pictures to help you get things going. It doesn't have a lot of details about the running of the app on your phone, however. Thankfully, the app isn't terribly complex and is fairly easy to figure out. This is the cigarette lighter adapter with 2 USB power outs for your phone and the dash cam. It comes with a button with double-sided tape. You're supposed to tape this onto your steering wheel, and what it does is when you press on the button, it takes a snapshot, as well as optionally record 10 seconds of video that cannot be written over by other files until you remove them manually. Pretty good tactile feel. Here we come to the camera itself. It's egg-shaped with this is the top, this is the back with LEDs and micro SD card, top the mounting point and micro USB port. In the front we have a lens. It's all glass, wide angle, about 170 degrees, f2.0 aperture, pretty good quality. And the microphone port is at the bottom. There's no LCD monitors or controls on this thing, as you can see. You will have to rely on your smartphone for seeing videos and controls. Here's the micro USB cable for power. It's very long, so you can set things up and hide it along the A-beam of your car. It comes with a suction cup for mounting on the windshield, and it is the only mounting device it has. And there's a friction pivot, and there's a latch that goes on to the top of the camera. It's really just a friction-based device that you slides into the latch. It's fairly secure, as you can see. It's pretty tight, but after removing it a few times, it does loosen slightly. And I'm a little leery about that ball joint, and eventually it might be too loose. But so far, it's pretty well balanced and fairly stable in real life use. Here's the charging port. As you can see, it's pretty close to the suction cup. This is where the included L-shaped cable comes in handy. You can actually use any micro USB cable provided that you find a clearance for it. Turning on the unit. The unit comes with a pretty annoying chime for power on.
Hello?
Oh, there you go. Fortunately, we can turn this thing off completely in the software. Here, we're pairing the phone with the camera for the first time. What you do is follow the instruction, go online and find a software called Umera, and the software will look for the camera and connect it with Wi-Fi, and voila. And it works pretty well. I mean, pretty stable most of the time. The camera also has G-force detection, so here I shake the camera a few times, it'll take a snapshot. Hello, this is a sound test of the interior recording. As you can tell, the sound is very muffled and almost garbled. It's almost unintelligible. That's the test. I'm driving while talking at about a foot away from the camera with the window down. This is a test of a interior recording by the dash cam and the sound quality as well. Well, that was the sound test. as you can hear, it's not exactly the strongest suit of this dash cam. It sounds muffled and overcompressed. So if you really care about sound, that's a weakness because there's no adjustment in the software. But as you can see here, the night vision is extremely good on this camera. You can see a lot of shadow detail, even the shadow areas, and it has a lot of resolving power, even in darkness. You can see a lot of sparkly quality to the lights. That's really because the windshield is really dirty. It's not the fault of the camera. Here's a daylight scene. Notice the pavement is bright colored and it's a sunny day, but you can still see the details or imperfections on the pavement. At the same time, you can also see some details on that black board with flashing light. So and the shadow area under the truck. So in that sense, it demonstrates how the sensor seems to have very high dynamic range in that it can pick out shadow details as well as highlights at the same time in the same scene. If you parse the videos frame by frame, you will see that the sensor is clearly capable of picking up a lot of detail, as in this case you can see the sidings and the brick lines are pretty sharp, and some frames are just really clear with abundant detail. Details are actually pretty good across the frame, demonstrating also the quality of the lens. Here's a footage shot at FDR Drive in New York City. You can see the Empire State Building in the background. Here we can see how the sensor is capable of picking up shadow details even in low light situations, some gradations in the clouds against the lights of the skyscrapers, and the windows on buildings, the bushes, and the signs. It shows a very capable sensor. I don't think there is any way to adjust the compression ratio or methods based on the software Umera's interface. Now the software is still in development, so I'm hoping maybe in the future they will have some features implemented where you may elect to have higher image quality over smaller file size. You can see the shadow details of the building to the left of us, and if you look ahead of us, you can actually distinguish the unlit UN building. I think it's really impressive how it's able to do this in spite of the high contrast created by the streetlights. Finally, I just want to show the camera's low light performance on a completely unlit road. As you can see, this camera is extremely capable at low light situations because of the great Sony sensor that's inside. Also, it has an innovative smartphone-based control that's also very interesting and makes it very versatile. Overall, this is a very solid dashcam with good performance if you don't absolutely need the best audio recordings on your dashcam.